Welcome to the High Rankings podcast, brought to you by Dispensary-Growth, the preeminent SEO agency for dispensaries. Each episode will dive into the world of search engine optimization for cannabis dispensaries. We'll discuss the latest strategies and tactics to help your dispensary rank higher on search engines and attract more patients and customers. So whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, join us as we explore how to maximize your online presence and stay ahead of the competition in the rapidly growing cannabis industry.
Hello, welcome back to episode 78 of the High Rankings podcast. I'm sorry, you should see the behind the scenes. For those of you who are listening, we are actually recording our beautiful faces today for this podcast because we have a special guest, the wonderful and so incredibly nice Lisa Williams from the TOKE Agency. So nice. She's great. You guys are gonna love listening to her. She's so
a banger too. It's a great episode.
She's so awesome. Insightful, and she's
got some nuggets.
Explain some things, and it sounds so like it's very easy to understand without being condescending. She's great. So we really hope that you enjoy the episode that is following our little opening. I am going to start off by saying that we are on the other side of Hurricane Helene, I think. Our listeners will know that I am based in Florida, and as you can see, I'm fine. My house is fine. Because of the horrific situation that is being faced here in Florida and Georgia and North Carolina, I will not be insensitive, and I will not be doing a vexed segment this episode, because I just think, what the fuck do I have to complain about? Especially since most of my vexings are pathetic anyway. But I do want to say that for us as a family, it's been a pretty rough week. Everybody has their power back now. And my heart is obviously with those people who are really suffering, who've lost everything. And, I just hope that everybody gets the help that they need. I will say, I think I mentioned this in last week's episode, that my husband and I had recently bought 2 generators from Sam's Club.
Mm-hmm.
And both
Not
of those
too long ago too, like recently, right?
Very recently, because they had them on sale. And I think I explained that the generator that we do currently have belongs in the Smithsonian, and it takes about 4 hours and 3 men and multiple tools to get it to start. So our generators were used, not by us. We were incredibly fortunate. We did not even lose power. My mother-in-law at her home, she lost power at 3 a.m. And it's funny because I see my sister-in-law had come over the day before, and we were talking, and I was like, just take one of the generators, because we just don't know what's going to happen. Because she was staying with my mother-in-law and father-in-law and brother-in-law. They were all staying in the same house. And so I said, just take one of these generators, because if your power goes out and we can't get to you, even though you're like 15 minutes away, you have it. So we both kind of carried this huge thing to her car. And thank goodness we did, because their power went out at 3 a.m. on the Friday morning. And then friends of ours, they also lost their power, and they were without power for I think it was over 2 days. So my husband on the Friday ran over our second generator to them. So both of them got used, just not by us. So everybody that we personally know, they are okay. We do have friends who have lost everything, houses flooded, lost everything. Our marina, there were, not us again, but there were people who had boats in the marina. So our marina is dry storage. So there's 3 racks, and a lot of the boats that were on the lower rack, because the storm surge was insane, the water had gotten up so high. And even though these racks are set back off the canal, the water was so high that it had lifted these boats out of the lower rack and just drifted them along until the water.
Bonkers.
And you've seen the video.
Yeah.
A lot of these boats are just where they didn't belong in the first place. But again, those are boats, and they are not people, and they can be replaced. So the images, particularly coming out of North Carolina, are pretty horrific. And then this morning, I see that there's a potential for something else to come our way. And again, I'm not sensationalizing and I'm not dramatizing. Who knows? It may not. It's just a really rough time for everybody. So that's been our experience. It's been a few days for our family. We've gone through some stuff as a family, but we are together, and that's what's important. And so in amongst all of that, one of our kids turned 15. So we obviously celebrated her, and yeah, it's been a few days. That's all I can say. But it's good. We're getting there. And I even started Halloween decorations. You can't see the rest of it because it's all like on that side of the couch.
That's a pretty cool blanket, yeah.
And it's so soft. I can't
That
even
reminds me of those ghosts in Super Mario Brothers. Like when you're running up to the castle, or like you're inside, you get Bowser and the little ghost is floating around.
I didn't play it, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's more ghosty stuff. You just can't see it because it's all in my living room and you're literally looking at the back of my couch. So that's really what I have to say about that. And what did you do over the weekend?
I went to the mountains.
I was having a great time.
uh,
I was having a ball.
yeah, I was not. Yeah, it's good that everything's within reason is okay. So, Caspots is fine. That's good. So, what did we do? My girlfriend and I went to the mountains. We went to Winter Park. It was closing day for Trestle, the downhill mountain bike park.
Mhm.
And yeah, it turns out my hand is still effed. It was the first time I'd been on the bike since I crashed. I think it was 2 weeks ago. And yeah, my bone is, I mean, yeah, it turns out my bone is still broken in my hand.
Yeah, I don't think that humans regenerate like, lizards and their tails.
Like Wolverine or like Deadpool. Yeah, so it turns out I'm gonna need surgery, like I said, to fuse it. And yeah, I went over the first jump and like, I was going pretty fast. When you land, it's supposed to be really smooth, but I could feel the not the pushback, but the suspension rebound, and it
Yeah.
pushed my hand back, and that pushing my hand back like moved the bone. Okay, well, I'd better just take it easy. So
I should go fix this.
yeah, that was Thursday. Later in the afternoon, we got there. I think we got there Wednesday. It's a great place. It's like 5 minutes past Winter Park. It's called Fraser, and there's these cool little condos right by a brewery. So we stayed there and came back early because I didn't sleep for like 2 nights. And when I mean I don't sleep, I was toss and turn for like 6 hours. And yeah, it was brutal. So came back, had a buddy's wedding celebration. That was a lot of fun. Saw a bunch of guys I hadn't seen in a while from playing hockey. I haven't played hockey in a long time, like almost a year. And it was cool to see that. They're like, "What the hell are you doing? Like, why are you used to be here like every week on the ice? If we see you like on the ice, like what is going on? Like, what? Like, yeah, I've been hurt, and I just hate hockey. Pretty
I'm
bad.
over.
Yeah, it's pretty horrible on your body, your hips.
And you're old now, by the way.
Well, yeah, I turned 31 today.
31. You
So,
did not.
so yeah, that's cool. Today is my birthday.
Happy birthday. By the way,
Thank you.
I've been sitting here talking to you on video for like over an hour and just realized what shirt you have on.
Oh, my F1 shirt?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a badass shirt. Thank you.
you're welcome.
It fits me.
That wasn't his birthday gift. I had just bought him that because I had seen it and he needed one. Because his girlfriend is a F1 fan and she
Yeah.
likes McLaren. So I just
Yeah.
realized
It was very nice. It fits me very well too. It's very high quality.
it is, isn't it?
Very high quality. It's like weird. Like, yeah, like it felt weird putting it on at first. Like it feels like a napkin, like a really high quality napkin.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that was Saturday night. They rented out a nice like restaurant that was cool. Woke up Sunday morning, not hating myself, but just the headache and
Did you get overserved or no?
sort of. So not yes, not no, if that's possible.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, I was a little banged up, and then I just took a nap, and I was fine on Sunday. I guess
So
that's
what are you doing for your birthday? Are you seeing your parents? Oh, you have to go to your parents' house because you have
yeah,
things.
yeah. So I think we're going to the Avs game tonight. I think my girlfriend got me tickets to the Avs game. Vegas. It's a preseason game. So hopefully we see a lot of scrapping because fighting. I know it's total like dude thing, but preseason is cool because you see kids like, or I mean vets especially, like trying to make the team, and they'll just go like ham on the ice. Like they'll just go after each other, and it's awesome. They'll like, and there's clips on YouTube of a guy like hanging over the bench, and he'll like yell at the other bench, all right, anybody wants to fight? He goes, I will literally fight anybody. I'm trying to make the team. And another guy on the team is like, okay, I'm in the same situation. I'm trying to make the roster. All right, let's go. And they'll just
Okay,
hop
but
on the ice.
how? Okay, explain this to me. Like hockey is a skilled game, right? You have to be
Oh yeah.
skilled at hockey in order
Yeah.
to get a position. How does fighting an opponent get you a position on a hockey team?
Because it communicates to not just your teammates, I think more importantly your teammates, but to your, by the way, I have very, very small experience. Very, 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 very low. They call it pro because they charge for tickets. But very, very low, low, low pro hockey experience. Very, very minor league, like very extremely minor. So there's a guy in the room on the team, not the fastest guy. He had a pretty good shot. He was a big dude, so he could fire a puck. But when you have a player like that on the ice that is willing to drop the gloves, the other team doesn't take cheap shots against your best player. So, because they know they'll get their eyes punched shut by they call him a sheriff or enforcer, whatever it is. The game has changed so much now because it's focused so much on speed and passing and possession. But players don't have to worry about getting, the ribs broken by a butt end or a cheap shot hit after the whistle, blindsided by a shoulder to your head, anything, a goalie getting run, which doesn't happen anymore. But when you have that player in the lineup that will fight, that will take care of that, like protect your teammates, it's a totally different
You
dynamic.
know,
Plus,
it's funny because I see you being mouthy because yeah,
mm,
I see you being mouthy and chirping, but I just don't see you fighting.
well, it's different as a goalie. Like goalies don't really
Yeah,
get into it that
well, that
much.
I was gonna say one of two things. One, because you're mouthy little shit
No,
sometimes, but you're
not
not
really
like
on the ice.
you're
Not,
not a
not,
violent, like natured person. But also, you have so much stuff on that, like,
yeah.
even trying to fight with all of that padding on as a goalie would be like impossible.
It's
You
like,
can't.
yeah, like once every couple seasons it happens in the NHL. It's the game is so different now. But in big rivalries, like it happened in the province of Alberta, there's the Edmonton Oilers and there's the Calgary Flames, and they've just always hated each other. It's just always been a rivalry. And a couple of years ago, the goalies had a nice scrap at center. It was fucking awesome.
But
It was
they like, okay, everybody, hold on, let me take half my stuff off.
kind of like there was a scrum on one end, and then everybody in the ice is fighting. And then the one goalie skated to center ice as if to say, "All right, let's do this." Like I'm in. If you want to do this, I'm in. And the other goalie, and on the replay, you could see the benches were like pointing at the center ice to the goalie that didn't know that the other goalie was at center ice. So the goalie realizes, oh, okay, all right, let's just go. Like it's
But
just,
the thing is, like, the goalies are the last two people that could possibly have beef with each other because they're like so far away from each
and
other.
and
If
that's why it's a team game. It's like if the two teams are going at each other and one goalie's doing like stupid stuff at one end, he's hacking guys or cup checks somebody or throws a blocker, like the other goalie's gonna get pissed, right? So they took off their gear, the refs just backed off, they just let it happen, and then the goalies, you know, it wasn't like a bloody scrap or anything. Like you have these
I
equipment on. So
would,
anyway,
it's
yeah,
just
fighting is, I know this is getting so much off topic, but fighting needs to stay in the game. It polices itself. There's a common like respect amongst the players. Like, okay, I'm not going to take my stick and knock your teeth out because I know that guy's going to,
beat the shit.
yeah, punch my lights out. So they just go amongst, uh, they just play hockey They're not like trying to fight every shift or anything like that. They know it could happen. It's there, but for the most part, they just go. Um, they're just there to play hockey, which includes big hits and sometimes there's fighting.
So you're going to a scrappy fight
Yeah.
at a
So all
and
of that
then
to say, going to
are
a
you going
preseason
for
game.
dinner or something? You
I
gonna
don't know.
go
She has it
tonight?
planned. I think there is a game tonight. We talked about it last week. And then my favorite pizza place, because pizza is life. Uh, my favorite pizza place is not too far from Ballerina. You
What
and I
is
have
your
not been there, by the way. It's a coal fire place. I found out about it. Well, you never come to Colorado, but I found out about it like 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and you haven't been to Colorado in like 10 years. So
have have we because you've been down here a lot, have I ever taken you to the coal fire pizza place called Christino's? It's in Clearwater.
I feel like
We
I
didn't
remember that.
yeah, it wasn't too far from the old Clearwater office. It was almost on the same street.
I think
And
we had it delivered one time, and I remember it being like really good.
it is to this day, like probably my favorite pizza around here for sure. And it's
Hmm.
amazing how quick it's done. It's like 5 minutes and it's boom out and it's crazy. But they have this quattro formaggi pizza and it is fantastic. It's so good.
Is it one of those places where you walk in? Is it kind of like the Chipotle of pizza places, or is it like a
Uh,
sit down,
it's a
like a
very small sit down place. They
okay,
have or had, because I don't know situation with them now, but they
yeah,
had like an outside area as well. But it's a very small sit down place and it has like a full menu because they have like salads and appetizers and they have a lot of other Italian dishes as well. But like people go there for their pizza. But no, it's not like what's those little tiny pizza places. There's one up here that's like literally Chipotle, and you go along a line and you tell them what you
yeah,
want.
yeah.
It's not Bravo pizza, but it's something
Uh,
like that.
yeah,
And
we had like six of those here in Denver, and they all closed because I thought it was great pizza, and I got sad.
it's okay pizza. It's like whatever. But yeah, we have a couple of those near here. But no, it's not like that. It's like a sit down pizza or like a takeaway delivery pizza.
Mhm.
But when I worked down there, I went because I used to live right by there too. I used to go there a lot because it's fantastic pizza. But the one I like by you is what's Antonio's or something?
Anthony's.
Anthony's. Yeah.
It's that's pretty good pizza. That's like better than average football pizza, I would say.
You know what's weird about I haven't to this day had a pizza like it. It was like because I typically don't go for like a really thick crust like that, but it was
Mm.
almost like the bottom had been fried almost. Like the
Hmm.
bread, the very bottom of the dough almost was like so crispy, it was like almost fried.
You had
No.
the thick style, the Sicilian.
Yeah, we both had that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love man. So my girlfriend is celiac. She's gluten free, and it's sad because I love gluten. I just bread is life. Bread, just pizza. Well, just
Uh,
bread and cheese.
I feel so bad for her because we were having bread at dinner in Savannah, and I'm like, she can't be eating
Oh,
this.
so good. It was so it was so good. Anyways, so yeah, the hockey game and dinner, I'm sure, and then I think that's it. I mean, it's a school night, it's Tuesday night, so
For
uh,
those that listened to last week's episode, the dilemma of do I get Charlie the lazy version of the gift or the non-lazy version of the gift? I went with the lazy version of the gift. So he doesn't have it yet. It actually has been delivered. I deliver it to his parents' house and it's delivered. So he has to go pick it up. But there's two parts to it, but I can't get the second part till you've seen the first part. Because then I have to ask you a question. But if I ask you a question, you'll figure it out before you open it.
mm, hmm. I prefer not the lazy. I prefer the most efficient
Hmm.
give, the less friction. How about that?
That's what I got. The less
Okay.
friction.
Yes.
And you'll
Okay.
know exactly why when you open it. Maybe. I don't know. Might require some explanation. But
Uh,
yeah, it got delivered to your parents' house at
all right.
7:32 p.m. last night.
All right. Cool, cool. But yeah, that'll be the night, I think. I think that'll be it.
That'll be your night. You'll go hockey, eat somewhere nice, and get overserved. Does that
We'll see.
so does that mean there's certain alcohol she can't drink now as well?
Yeah, like some beers.
Yeah, I was gonna
She
say.
mainly just sticks to wine now. Yeah.
I get crazy headaches if I did that. I
Yeah.
could have like a glass or two, but outside of that, oof,
Yeah.
that would rock my. And she drinks red wine too, so good Lord, that would rock my
Mm.
brain cells massively. All right, well, we are going to wrap up here because life is lifing. We'll be back next week with the second episode for the Semrush duo that we have.
Enjoy the interview too. It's a good one.
She's great. She's so easy. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? She's so just easy to just you could have chatted with her for a long time, but she's insanely busy. She founded the TOKE Agency and she's a CEO for two other companies that she has and runs. And how she had time to even do our interview is beyond me. But I hope you enjoy it. I'm sure you will. She's great. There are a couple of links that we talk about in the podcast that we'll make sure are in the show notes. So check those out. Again, you can find us on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Spotify, Apple Music. Comment, like, subscribe. Oh, and lastly, there might be a very small cameo right at the beginning of DOG on my video because you saw her,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah. Yeah. In the
Check her
background,
out.
yeah, of the
She's
dog.
yeah. Okay, well, everybody, please be safe and have a great week, and we'll be back with another episode soon.
Peace.
All right, well, welcome to this week's episode of High Rankings Podcast. As previously promised, we do have a very special guest with us today. We are joined by Lisa Williams, who is the founder of the TOKE Agency, which is a leading cannabis marketing firm. Also, I believe you are the CEO of Simply Digital, which is an agency that's helping businesses streamline their digital marketing strategies. And is it correct that you're the CEO of Hello Again Products, which is a wellness products company?
Yes, that's true.
Wow. So I don't even know how you have the time to join us today, but we are super appreciative of that. So thank you. Lisa has years of experience with brand development and customer engagement. So she's going to be sharing her insights with us in three key areas today. We're going to talk about how dispensaries can increase their brand awareness. We're going to talk about customer acquisition, and also probably one of the most valuable points of this is customer lifetime value after you've acquired those customers. So again, thank you so much for joining us. We are so thrilled to have you. Thank you for carving out some time because I don't know where you find it, to be honest. So yeah, thank you. And do you want to go ahead and tell us a little bit about you, maybe why you found yourself in the cannabis sphere as a whole, so our listeners can understand a little bit more about you and all of the years of expertise you have.
Yeah, thank you, Kaz, for that introduction. And Charlie, I'm super excited to be here with you. And I'm honored to actually be a guest on your podcast. And so thank you for allowing me to share. I was running It's Simply Digital back in 2019, 2020, and ended up finding myself unemployed in the middle of COVID, of the pandemic, and decided to go ahead and just launch that full time. I was doing it as a side hustle and decided to take it and make it my full-time gig. And I haven't looked back since. And about a year into running that business, I had an opportunity to start working with a couple of dispensaries. It was a partnership that came to me. They were working on some website development for a brand new dispensary that was launching, and they needed some social media and some loyalty help. And they reached out to me, and I knew nothing about the cannabis space and really honestly didn't know how to run a loyalty program through, these dispensaries, through the platforms that they're using like Alpine IQ or Spring Big. But I said, sure, and I'm willing to try, and we'll take it from there and see what happens. And that's kind of how I got into the cannabis space. So here we are 3 years later. We have over 60 dispensaries that we work with across 5 different states. I have 2 other women that work with me on my team. We're lean and mean, and we're women owned and operated. And we run loyalty programs, text and email campaigns through Alpine IQ or Spring Big, and we're certified in both of those programs. We also are familiar with some of the other programs that are out there like High Day and Happy Cabbage. And we also run social media. We're talking soup to nuts. We do all of the content creation, brand awareness, everything from graphic creation. We build out an entire calendar for the month for our clients, and then we also engage on their behalf as well. So that's the short of it. But where we really start and we really shine before we do any of that implementation is we create a brand strategy for our clients. And that's diving deep into their missions, their values, their purpose, their brand archetype, how they want to portray themselves out into the world, and who they are attracting to come to their dispensary. So that's really where we start at the very beginning.
So do you work with like customers who are all over the range in terms of like longevity of their business? Meaning, do you work with like brand new dispensaries as well as like already established dispensaries? Do you have like a niche that you kind of prefer, or are you like kind of all over the board with your clients?
I would say for the most part, our current clients that we work with have multiple locations and have been established for a little while. That's not to say that we wouldn't work with a brand new dispensary, but a lot of times a brand new dispensary needs to get up and running and start generating some revenue, unless they have, some significant capital behind them. I think it's really important for them to learn a little bit about what's going on in their environment before they bring on somebody to handle the rest of it for the marketing.
That makes total sense. That actually makes a whole lot of sense. So when you're working with these dispensaries, like, can you just explain a little bit to the audience from your perspective with the experience that you have, like why this strong branding is like so critical for these dispensaries, especially when we're talking about like super competitive markets? Like what is it about that building that brand that is imperative for them and their success?
Yeah. So Kaz, I'm sure you know, in any state that's legal, dispensaries pop up all over the place. I mean, you might have one here, one across the street, one around the block on the corner, and it's a highly competitive market, and everybody is trying to figure out, how do I get those customers to keep coming in the door and make my dispensary the dispensary of choice? And how do you differentiate yourself, and how do you look different from the brand, the dispensary down the street? And we start with a brand strategy. We actually created a quiz, and I'll share the link with you so you could share it with your listeners. It's a free quiz, and it does a brand archetype. It's a deep dive into a brand archetype. And a brand archetype is essentially the personality of the brand. And so I think it's really important to understand the foundation of your dispensary. Like, who are you attracting? Are these medical patients? Are these people who are looking for a recreational high? Are these women? Are these men? Are they all ages? Who is it that you're attracting? Who's your audience? That's the first thing you need to understand. And then, how do you speak their language? How do you keep bringing them in the door through building your brand? And I'll give you an example for the TOKE Agency. We are the girl next door. So every time I get on a call with somebody, they tell me, I'm very personable, I'm very approachable. I want to be seen as like, you could sit down and have a cup of coffee with me anywhere at any time, and we could be friends. And so that is our personality. And I think that you have to determine what your personality is as a dispensary so that you figure out who your audience is and who you're attracting to you.
How often do you find that those retailers don't even have those answers?
They don't ever have those answers. I mean, let's face it, Charlie, a dispensary they have so many moving parts, right? Like, they are dealing with hiring staff or maintaining staff and training bud tenders. They have inventory management. They have regulations. They have so much on their plate. They're not worried or thinking, or even it's not even a consideration of how do I build this really strong brand to connect with my audience? They think, honestly, if I put my brick and mortar building out there, I throw up a website and maybe do a little promo, people are going to come.
I mean, honestly, though, like you said, with the market being as competitive it is, they're not really wrong in that, necessarily. But yeah, you're probably asking them questions that they've never even given any consideration to. Like, what do you mean? What are we trying to do? We're trying to sell cannabis. Yeah, like, what do you mean? Who are we trying to be? We're just trying to. I don't like if they're not understanding brand strategy and, having really building that brand. Then yeah, you're right. They probably never even thought about any of those questions. I can imagine them sitting there just like.
and most people don't think about those questions, even outside of the cannabis industry. I mean, let alone inside the cannabis industry, for all the reasons we just explained. A dispensary has so much going on. The last thing that they're thinking about is, how do I build brand, right? But if you look at, I'm going to just use some of these big brands, Cookies, or you look at Planet 13, or you look at some of these big names that are in the cannabis space, they have built a brand. They've built a following. They've built this this awareness that people want to connect to, and people want to become loyal to them. Because when you put out this message and you're consistent with your message about who you are, what you believe in, what your values are, how your language that you speak, your tone, your voice, all of that stuff, there's going to be people that are going to say, hey, I feel the same way and I want to come along for the ride that you're bringing me on.
Yeah, I think there's a client of ours, or an old client of ours, that comes to mind. And one thing that really struck me about their personality as a whole was that they were very neighborhood based. So they have multiple locations, but they're very neighborhood based. So one thing that really set them apart for me in their branding was how involved they are in their community at each location. So whenever I think about this particular chain of dispensaries and their branding, it always comes to me how community driven they are. And I think for a lot of people, that is something that would bring them back time and time again because of all of the work that they do within that community. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's really important for dispensaries to get involved in community, because first of all, it shows that you're there to stay and you are building a name and you want to invite other people. And you also want to collaborate with other people that are in your location and in your surroundings. But you're bringing people together, and the people that you're bringing together, they all probably want to connect and meet each other as well. I mean, let's face it, we sit behind screens and we sit behind phones and we don't get out that often. So if we have community events that our dispensaries are sponsoring and or participating in, what a better way to, go and enjoy that environment and meet like-minded people.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
In addition, Lisa, to the community work, what are a couple of ways that a retailer can build their brand? Maybe like two or three kind of like quick hits kind of thing.
Yeah. So social media, but you have to be ultra careful on, all the regulations. And that's one thing that we pride ourselves on, is we are highly compliant with the clients that we work with on anything that we put out. I mean, we've had clients come to us and they've wanted to use characters and, different things, and we shut them down. So our goal is to get you as much information and feedback as possible, but staying compliant. So social media would be one. And through social media, education, because let's face it, there's this huge stigma out there on the cannabis industry as a whole. And so education is going to destigmatize everything. So social media is one. Loyalty programs through an Alpine IQ, through a Spring Big, through any of these other platforms, and capture their text and emails so that you could drip on them and send them information every week. And then the third thing is your bud tenders have to be trained to learn what it is that their customers are coming in for. What is it that they really need? What is their ailment? Are they looking just to get high? Are they looking to, they have sleep issues, they have pain issues, they have anxiety issues. Learning about their customer and making sure that they're getting the right product for the right ailment. So again, education. And then along with that, you get your bud tenders to encourage their customers to sign up for their loyalty programs so that they could start building that loyal base and start racking up those rewards and those points.
Real quick, before we talk about acquiring the customers, we can't really scooch past this part of our episode without talking about weed maps. And obviously the news, I think in the last week or so, about some of their head honchos being fined by the SEC. I know we've long preached about the importance of building your own asset in terms of SEO and your website and how invaluable that is. We talk about rent versus own when it comes to websites such as weed maps, especially long term. So given the light of this news, do you have any advice about how perhaps retailers who have used weed maps can maybe rework what they were planning, their branding or their marketing as far as branding is concerned? Because I think the trust that consumers had in weed maps is no longer there. And so if they were relying on that for, customer acquisition, maybe including some of their branding, they're going to have to, pull a whole 180 on that. So is there any advice you could have or strategies maybe that they can put in place in terms of branding?
What are your thoughts on it too, Lisa?
Yeah. So
your thoughts on the whole matter.
Yeah, just exactly what you said, Kaz. I am all about owning your list versus renting it. Social media is a rented platform. Things like Weed Maps or any other platform similar to Weed Maps is a rented platform. And if you're putting all your money in one platform or one idea or one opportunity to hopefully bring in customer acquisition, you're really missing opportunities. So my first thought is, I believe in an entire ecosystem. I don't believe in marketing for just one way or another. I believe in creating an entire ecosystem. I think there's a place for billboards. I think there's a place for signage. I think there's a place for emails and text, social media, and other places like other websites like a Weed Maps. I think there's a place for all of that, but I think you also have to be very, very discerned as to where you spend your marketing dollars. And if I only had a limited budget and I only could spend my marketing dollars on a limited budget, I would dump everything I could into text and email loyalty campaigns, because that's going to continue to bring your customers back and allow you to own that list and to constantly communicate with them. So I would invest in training my bud tenders on getting them to sign people up for the loyalty program. Even incentivize your bud tenders, like you get X number of signups, you get XYZ. Incentivize them. I would focus on community involvement and I would focus on organic social media. But that's really where, if I could put, if I had a magic wand and I would say, here's where you should really focus your money, I would say it's on text and emails and building your loyalty.
Actually brings me to a question that I had actually thought about earlier today, which was, how do you and your clients sit down and decide, like, okay, I have X amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I would like to reasonably achieve, because we all know what they want to achieve, but let's reasonable.
Right.
We reasonably achieve. What is my timeline? How do you and your customers like manage the marketing budgets And then obviously because we do SEO, like how do you decide like it's this percentage that I'm going to put into SEO versus other marketing forms? Do you have like almost like a template, or is it super unique to each client that you work with?
I think it's very unique to each client. And a lot of times they're not really sharing their entire marketing budget with us. We're asking them, what are your business goals and how can we align your marketing goals with your business goals, whatever that looks like. And so when we're running campaigns for our clients, we could pull numbers and pull data and show them month after month where their ROI is and what our campaigns are doing. So when they're investing in, a loyalty program and putting dollars into that, we're able to run campaigns and pull all this data and say, look, we did a win back campaign and this is how much it's gotten you over the last 30 days. We did a birthday campaign, or we did, whatever campaigns we're running. And so we're able to pull that data and show metrics, but they don't really necessarily share their marketing budget with us. We just talk about how can we align our marketing with your business goals. So our marketing goals with your business goals.
So before we can even get to the loyalty program, we have to acquire these customers.
Yes.
Like that's a big deal.
Right.
So how do you what kind of strategies do you employ with your customers in terms of them being able to acquire new customers through the marketing campaigns and things that you guys are able to do for them?
So we don't focus on SEO, but that is one thing I would definitely lean into to acquire new customers, as far as, making sure that everything is optimized as far as your Google listing, your website listing, everything. So that for sure would be one thing. I think you have to go out into the community and you have to be the voice of your community. So I am the voice of my brand, right? I'm on social media. I am on LinkedIn. I personally create every email that we send from me to our client list. That's me. I'm the face of the brand. And if you don't have somebody that's internal, that's willing to be the face of that dispensary, to go out into the community and figure out the best way possible to connect with the right people. I would say, whether it's the founder, whether it's the general manager, whether it's the retail manager, whether it's somebody who's inside the dispensary, figure out ways to utilize that person to be the face of the brand and go out into the community and meet people. Not necessarily meet people to drive business back to your dispensary, but just more of meeting people to communicate with them, to build relationships with them. And I think that that's really important to start getting your name out there. People aren't going to find a dispensary if they don't know about it, right? And so how do you get your name out there? Well, you have to go out into the community. We have a client in Boston, and school started recently and all the college kids came back to school. And so we worked with that client to create a campaign on how can you touch these college students who are coming back to school and get them to come to your dispensary. What are things that you could do by going out into the community and touching base with them? So, they went to bars, they went to restaurants, they showed up, and, they had the Boston, there was I think a bicycle event. They showed up there, they had a booth there. You can't pass out product and just give away free weed, but what you can do is you could make yourself known and attract. And while you're doing all this, you're capturing their email addresses and or their phone numbers so that you're building that base. And that would be the goal. Maybe you give away, while you're out in the community, maybe you're giving away a discount coupon, or, a QR code where you go sign up and you get, buy one, get one for a penny or something like that.
Or swag, like give them
Yeah.
some
Like some
pens
hats or
and
something. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like something
Anything.
they're going to use in school, and then be like, oh, I remember XYZ dispensary. I'm using
Right.
that right now. Like,
Right. Yeah. And if you're passing out swag while you're at these events and, it's very distinguished swag where people are going to be, remembering you, not just throwing it in the trash the minute they get home, and they're actually going to use it. I mean, those are the other things is you have to think through what is it that my customers want? What is it that I could put in their hands for free that they would actually use and remember me and
yeah.
come back to my dispensary?
I used to work, this was before me and Charlie knew each other. I used to work for a magazine company, and there was one guy, and he would go to all the trade shows, and he would come back. It was his thing, like bags of like swag, bags of just absolute useless crap. But the things that you would keep, and he'd divvy it out, but the things you keep would be the things that you actually use: pens, notepads, post-it notes. Like, it always amazed me that these companies would like create the most randomest of things that, like, no offense, but what do I want with a small rubber ball with your name on it? It's not serving any purpose, but I'm going to use your
Right.
pen. I'm going to use your pencil. I'm going to, like, so especially when you're talking about a client with like college students who like need all the free stuff they can get, right? Like pens, pencils, notepads. Yeah. So absolutely something that's branded that they're going to actually use. They're not going to walk away from your booth at the event and throw it straight into the
The
the trash.
trash. Yeah.
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 No.
I mean, I've hosted trade shows where I've been behind the booth and I've gone to trade shows and I don't pick up the swag. I don't want to waste their marketing dollars. I'll come home and throw it away. But there are things that are valuable that
Yeah.
I will keep. I mean, even if you like coupons are going to be,
Yeah.
a really great thing. That's going to drive your business. Hats, t-shirts, anything that's going to represent your brand out in the community that people are going to see and want to connect with. But yeah, you have to really think through what is it? Who's my customer? Who's my target audience? What is it that they are going to value and want? Maybe they want like a discrete case to put their weed in, or maybe they want, I mean, there's all kinds of things. So you just have to think outside the box.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. Charlie, you're very quiet
Yeah.
today.
No. Well, I'm literally taking notes on this, but Lisa, other than just retailers not even uh actively practicing this, what are like maybe 3 mistakes that you see retailers make?
Well, they don't have a strategy. So
Okay.
they're randomly sending out text and emails. You might get one on a Tuesday and it might be 3 weeks before you get another one. So the only way that you're going to keep your customers top of mind is consistency. So you have to consistently hit them where they're at. And so one of the things that we do with our clients is we create a calendar and we say every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, or every, whatever the days are, your customers are going to get the text and email. And one's going to be whatever's going on in the community. One's going to be educational. One's going to drive, deals and specials. However, we divide that up, but it's consistent. It goes out at 10 a.m. every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, so that the customers know to expect. Ding, it comes on their phone or their email, and they see whatever that is. So not having a strategy is one. Not being consistent with a strategy is number two. And this goes the same thing with social media, is randomly posting things and then not posting things for weeks on end. You know, you have to have a strategy, whether it's creating reels of behind the scenes information and what's going on in your dispensary, highlighting bud tenders, highlighting product, highlighting what's going on in the community and how you're participating in that. And then you also have to have branded, good quality graphics to go along with that as well. So we want the free flowing, super casual, behind the scenes look because that's what connects with the audience. But we want the pretty branded stuff as well because that's showcasing your brand, your message, your colors, your tone, all of that stuff. So there's a balance there to have both of those. So to answer your question, Charlie, it really goes back to a strategy. And I'm going to use myself as an example. When I started at Simply Digital way back, like, several years ago, I would sign a new client and just start working with them. I wouldn't create a strategy. And then we'd be like months into working and I would feel confused. They would feel confused. It wasn't benefiting anybody. So I had to go back to the drawing board, me, and figure out where do we start? Well, we start with a strategy. Today, I will not take a client on unless we do a strategy first. And they could pay us just for a strategy if that's all they want to do and they want to, execute it themselves. But if you don't have a plan, and this goes back to what I was saying, where you align your marketing goals with your business goals.
Yeah, actually, it's interesting you say that because one thing that we do quite heavily focus on with our clients is the cadence at which we do, for example, blog posts.
Mm-hmm.
Because oftentimes we'll start working with a client and they might have posted something 3 months ago, and then they posted something 4 months ago, and they put 4 posts out on the same day, and then and then nothing. So even within our world of SEO, like, yes, we have a strategy, we have a roadmap. We actually use like Lucidchart to map out where everything's going, when it's going, and then we create a content calendar as well. Because I think it's super important that it's important for SEO because it helps with the ranking in terms of consistency. But like something that you said struck me about, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever. And then
Mm-hmm.
that this dispensary, every Friday, it's going to give me a new coupon. And I can't wait for my Friday email because I want to know what that coupon is. It reminds me of like Aldi grocery store, for example. Everybody knows every Wednesday they have a whole new theme for the week, whatever it might be, right? So you're going to have different food, you're going to have different things in their aisle of shame, as they call it. So every Wednesday, like, I wonder what they're going to have. And it's kind of the same thing what you were saying was like, we're going to have an educational post here, we'll have a community post here, and then we'll have a coupon this week. So it's increasing the excitement of waiting for that email to come in from that specific dispensary because you want to know what you're going to get this week. So it's interesting how it's parallel differently, but yeah.
Well, and you're training your customers to connect with you on, at the times that work for you and work for them. You're training them. And, we're also looking at, okay, if we're sending out a message at 10 a.m. every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, what's our open rate? What happens if we flip that and change it to 4 p.m.? Do we get a better open rate? Like you have to A/B test your metrics and see where you're going to get your best strategy. I have a question for you on SEO because we don't work with SEO, but we do write content and we write blogs for our clients. Do you find that it's difficult to rank for some of the words that are in the cannabis space? And how do you get around that? What are your challenges? And I know I'm kind of flipping it, but I have a question too.
Oh, that's fine. Go ahead. I'm gonna let Charlie answer this.
Yeah. So if we only work with retailers, like established, licensed retailers, like I think maybe our customers are similar, but we do find it's I guess quote easier to rank at the local level.
Okay.
Depending on how competitive it is, being in, let's see, how can I say this? Like Boulder, Colorado, especially now, Colorado is not the market it was 10 years ago. So being in Boulder is going to be different than ranking in Kansas City, Missouri, or let's say like Lansing, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
So we find at the local level, it's quote easier to rank for like pre-rolls in Kansas City, but a blog post or landing page like Kansas City pre-rolls is going to be more difficult to rank for. So we we take this a strategy similar, actually very similar, of a content calendar. We have to scope out, not getting technical with like historical data or anything like that and competitors. It depends where the dispensary is located, who the competitors are, and what work has been done previously. I hate to give you kind of a gray answer, but it's easier at the local level. It's more difficult at the national level.
Also, it depends on, honestly, it depends on other things, such as like sometimes a competitor wants to rank for a keyword and there's like no volume because nobody's looking for it, but they want to rank for it.
You're
So
not going to rank for a CBD. Like it's just not like,
Yeah.
it's just not going to happen.
a lot of it, and I know this is going to be the same for your clients, is you have to set an expectation for the client as well. Like, yes, we can certainly try, but this is the situation you're in. Either it's too competitive of a word and you don't have the domain authority to rank for it anytime soon, but we can start looking long term for it. Or maybe it's just, it's just not something people are looking for. So again, we can create a blog post for you, but you have to understand what the expectation is of this actually ranking, because nobody's looking for it. So a big part of what we have to do is really set that expectation with the client. It's always better to under deliver, as I'm sure, one of the things we live by.
Right.
But yeah, it's about, sometimes you will be able to rank for it, but it's the time frame in which that's going to happen. And you just have to let your client know beforehand what they can expect out of that. So
yeah, because you're playing the long game with SEO, and it's very similar to a loyalty program. Clients sometimes will want to go, okay, well, where are the customers? Well, we have to build that out. We have to build out your customer buyer journey. We have to map that out. We have to create all of these communications and campaigns. And it's not like you're just going to immediately see results within 30 days. It's a long play.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you about in terms of loyalty programs, because I'm in Florida, just Tampa Bay area in Florida. And when you were talking about dispensaries just popping up all the time, it's funny because I was just telling Charlie a couple of weeks ago, there's this one stretch of road where I drive my kid to school, and literally within about a 3-month period, it must have been like 4 dispensaries, just boom, 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 out of absolutely nowhere. And I know, like, when you go to a dispensary for the first time, you get almost like a little booklet, right? And it gives you all these deals. And then you finish that booklet. So then you go on to the next dispensary, right? Because they got the same booklet with all these deals. And so, oh, well, I don't have that anymore there, but I do have that at this one. Oh, and now the third one's open and they've got all of these deals. So I'm going to hop there. So I guess, and they all do it. And I'm sure it's not specific to Florida. I'm sure it's everywhere. So I guess in that kind of competitiveness, what kind of strategy do you have? If I'm coming into your dispensary and you're the second on the list of 4, right? And I'm working my way through your coupons, how do you advise your clients? Like, how do you keep me instead of me going to the next one when this coupon book's run out? How do your clients keep me? Like, how do I join your client's loyalty program and not hop, skip, and jump, to the next one?
Right. And that's such a great question, because every dispensary, not every, I don't want to say that. I'm just going to generalize. Most dispensaries think that they need to compete on discounts to drive more customers. And it's a race to the bottom. I'm done with this coupon book. Now I'm going to this coupon book, and I'm done with this. And then where is your profit margin? Where are you making money if you're constantly racing to the bottom with discounts? And if I'm always giving a discount, the customers are going to come to expect that as the norm. And then they're just going to go find the best deal, and they're not going to come to your dispensary. They're just going in general to find the best deal. So you have to build out a customer buyer journey, and it has to start with the very first time they hit your dispensary. And this is where I go back to saying it's a combination of making sure your bud tenders are trained to get your customers to sign up for your loyalty program, and that your loyalty program has a strategy and it's working effectively. So you build out that customer buyer journey. You hit them with a welcome email or text. You hit them with a thank you for joining our loyalty program. You hit them with a, oh, it's been 7 days since we've seen you. Come back. We love you. We want you to keep coming back. And you could give them coupons for every, however many days you want to create that. You could do some suggestive selling. So I noticed you bought this flower and this vape. You might also like these gummies or this pre-roll, and you do some suggestive selling to help increase the basket size and or diversify their products and get you to look as the hero, right? Like, hey, I know you like this. You're also going to really love this because we've found that they're very similar and similar effects, similar highs, similar terpenes, whatever. And so the other thing is you could hit them with bring a friend and you get a discount and your friend gets a discount. Follow us on social and you get another reward. And you rack up these rewards. Every time you come back, I belong to American Airlines loyalty program, right? I don't pay cash for anything. I charge everything on my credit card because I want those points. I want to travel for free, right? Wherever I want to go. So we have to incentivize your customers through building out a journey and hitting them with rewards so that they want to keep coming back to your dispensary. Whether it's swag, whether it's discounts, whether it's X number of dollars off on their next purchase, whether it's, I'm trying to avoid the word discounts because that's really not what I want to say, but dollars off on their next purchase, swag. You could even go way outside the box and you could think, I'm going to give away a trip. I'm going to give away a vehicle. I'm going to give away groceries for a year. It doesn't have to necessarily be something that's in your dispensary. You could think big and broad and they could accumulate points for years.
So last year, Lisa, I bought a big burly mountain bike. I'm in here in Denver, and I went to a mountain bike shop maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 miles away, drove over there. I was cool, I was all happy, got the bike, came home, and the next 7 to 10 days, I just got crushed with texts and emails.
I was
and
literally
everything.
going to ask the same
And I was
thing.
like, I seriously had
Yeah.
poopy pants about just getting bombed on with these offers and everything. Like, at what point does a retailer
It was too much.
cross that line? Yeah.
Right. What were they trying to sell you in your text and emails?
They were saying, okay, so you bought this kind of bike. How about maybe like a big burly full face helmet? How about some gloves? How about some knee pads? How about a chest pad?
Accessories.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's where we come in with creating a strategy. So we're not sending a text and email every single day, and we're not bombarding them with suggestive selling every single day. That's why I said, let's just take, for example, you Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. One is educational, one is community driven, one is discounts or specials or deals or coupons or whatever, so that you're not just hitting them where they just want to vomit because they don't want, I want to stop. I want to opt out. So that's why you have to really think through your strategy, and you have to also think through that journey, that buyer journey of how do you want them to feel? Put yourself in their shoes.
Yeah, because honestly, it's funny. It's exactly what I was going to ask you, that how much is too much, because there's many times when companies, you'll get an email from, I just bought a Coach purse, right? Do you know how many emails I get from Coach now? Like, I just want to shut up. Like, I got what I got, leave me alone. Like,
Right.
one a week would be fine, right? One a week is fine. Like, it's almost every day.
Yeah, every day.
And the other part of the question, kind of, that I was going to ask you was that I think the difference between, say, for example, Charlie and his bike, or me and my Coach purse, and dispensary customers is the only thing that limits us from buying more bikes or buying more Coach purses is finances, right?
Right.
But when it comes to marijuana, that's not true, because the limitation is going to be whatever the state says your limitation is going to be, right? So
Right.
what made me think about that was when you said like increase the basket size, and I was like, yeah, but your dispensary customers, there's a limit to that. So at some point, you can only fill that basket so much. It's
Correct.
not like, bikes and purses where world's your
Right.
oyster.
And you could offer accessories and create like, a very unique basket that you sell as a whole and say, this is our sleep basket. And it has an eye mask and some sleep gummies and some certain kind of flour. You could really be creative with some of that. But yes, because there's limits on how much you could purchase, but also these are purchasing cannabis is something that people want to do on a consistent basis. Buying a bike or a coach purse, a mountain bike, I'm not going to go every week and buy a new mountain bike. I'm not going to go every week unless you're certain women and buy a new coach purse. Maybe some women do. I don't know.
Not me, but yeah.
Not me. So I think, like, to your point of you getting a coach email every single day, what are they? I don't know. It's hard for me to understand what they're trying to accomplish. Like, are they trying to get you to buy more coach purses or accessories? Maybe
Yes.
every once in a while they could drip on you with like, here's a deal for an accessory to go with your new coach purse. And that's the other thing is we have the capability through going into the back end through these programs and really personalizing these messages. So for example, Kaz, if you came in and you bought the coach purse and maybe we documented somehow the color, the style, the brand, right? And
Yep.
now I could suggest of sell, hey, here's a cool wallet to go with your coach purse. And here's a cool keychain to go with you. And here's a makeup bag. And you could have the whole kit for an extra price and it's all, bundled together. And you could do the same in a dispensary. You could say, hey, I noticed you bought this flower, but did you know that we also have this accessory and we have these other flowers that, might be great with, the kind of flower that you like, or these pre-rolls, or so you could do some suggestive selling, but you really have to personalize these messages. And that takes somebody to go in on the back end and understand the metrics and really dive into the data to be able to distinguish those messages that go out.
So what kind of data, and this is more Charlie's realm than mine, because data just, but like what kind of data are you analyzing? What are you using in terms of, being able to analyze the data and feed that back to your clients in a way that makes sense to them?
So we use the platforms that they are on, whether it's Alpine IQ or Spring Big or, whatever platform they're using for their loyalty program. And we go pull reports, but you could personalize those reports as well. So what's our open rate? What's our click-through rate? Pulling each campaign individually for the last 30 days. How much revenue did this campaign generate? How much revenue did this campaign generate? And then when you're diving into the metrics and you're really looking at them, do we need to tweak anything in here as well? And like I said, have our open rates dropped? If they did, why? Were our subject lines not as enticing? And there's always ways to go in. And so here's the thing, I wouldn't go and change everything at once. You just tweak things little by little and you just see these incremental changes. But we go into the back end of the systems. And then also using Meta, to go in for social media and pulling any reports that we need to from there as far as what the metrics are.
And you're able to tell like length of clients versus like newly acquired clients, how many times these clients have bought for you, what their average basket size is.
Yes.
So we're really able to kind of drill down and say like, this is definitely working, because a year ago or 6 months ago, you were here and now,
yep, you're here.
you're here. And this was the map that we kind of followed in order to get you where you're at now.
Yeah. And I mean, we pull reports and send them to our clients and review them with our clients on a monthly basis. We pull reports for ourselves on a monthly basis. So it's really diving into what's going on in the back end of these systems. But again, it has to have, I'm going to go tie this all back into brand awareness because you have to hit your customers, your website, your social media pages, your in-store experience. It has to look and feel the same. And if it doesn't look and feel the same, there's a disconnect right there and you're going to lose the customers. So I'm kind of tying it all back in. The bud tenders have to know how to sell the loyalty program. And it's not even a sell, it should just be sign up. You get bonuses for signing up.
You're almost a fool if you don't do this type.
Right. And then your loyalty program has to have the right message to the right customer. And then your social media has to talk to your audience and has to be educational in nature, fun, whatever your vibe is. And then you have to share behind the scenes and what's going on in your dispensary, and you have to participate in the community, and you have to have SEO. I mean, it's this whole, it all has to tie in together. And it costs money to get all this ecosystem going. But it's like this cog and wheel. Once it's all going, it's like ringing your cash register, cha-ching, 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 because people are coming in your door.
And to neatly wrap this bow on the gift that you just wrapped up, this is when we all talk about you're now owning your asset. You're not renting it. You're not using, another website to promote yourself out there, that potentially could not be what you think. You are literally,
Right.
you are, when you're using your funds for this kind of marketing, whether it's the products that you offer and the services you offer, or whether it's SEO, you are paying a mortgage on a building that you own. And that's
Exactly.
really the important thing. You're not renting where it could all be pulled out from under your feet. And I think, we go about things differently because we have different services and different expertise. But at the end of the day, what we want is our clients to own their assets and be proud of what they're building on a monthly basis with the investment that that they're putting out every month. And that it's working, which is
right. And also think about this. If you have a list that you've built and you own, now these brands that want to start promoting themselves in your dispensary and co-brand with you, maybe they want to give you marketing dollars to co-brand, you have this list that you could say, I have a list of 3,000 customers. I have an open rate of 38%. And this is what it's going to cost for us to work together and co-brand together. And you have power, you have leverage. You could use that to your advantage. If you go to the community and you want to participate or sponsor in a community event and they want to utilize your list, you have leverage to utilize that list.
Yeah, and the data to back it up.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So Lisa, as we wrap up here and given our discussion points about how important it is, what you just said, build your brand, invest in your brand, customer lifetime value and everything. Can you give us a good case study from working with TOKE Agency?
So we actually have a case study on our website. It's Codes. That's the name of the dispensary. And they came to us a couple years ago, brand new brand, starting out brand new. And we helped them with their open rates, with their loyalty program, get it up and running. And I can actually share it with your listeners so that you have a link to share it. But, we pride ourselves on how we've generated profit for our clients and revenue, and we keep those customers coming back. So yeah, there's I'm happy to share it. It's on our website. It's called Codes. So I could share that a little bit with you.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again so much for carving out some time in your day. I just want to promote your website real quick. It is thetokeagency.com, as in THETOKE agency.com. So if any of our listeners would like to go and check that out, that would be great. Again, I can't tell you how grateful we are for joining us and giving us your insights. They're invaluable. And hopefully we didn't take up too much of your day.
Oh, I'm honored, and I'll send you those links so that you could share them in the show notes and link them up. So
Cool.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the High Rankings podcast, brought to you by Dispensary-Growth, the preeminent SEO agency for dispensaries. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you found value in the insight and the tips we shared. If you did, please hit that subscribe button. And if you're feeling super generous, we would love it if you left us a review. If there's a specific topic you'd like us to cover in a future episode, or if you have any questions, you can go ahead and find us on LinkedIn or YouTube. We'll see you next time.